Hello everyone, welcome to Poetry Day 14. Today we are proofreading for punctuation and capitalization, and we are going to revise and edit a couple of poems that we want to publish. So we're going to explore how poets follow and break punctuation and capitalization rules. We're going to decide how you will punctuate and capitalize your poems, proofreading correct spelling and punctuation, and write the final version of a poem that you would like to publish. So, as you've seen, poets don't always follow the rules, right? They break a lot of punctuation rules or conventional writing rules. So, you're going to work on your final versions of your poems, and tomorrow we're going to publish our favorite ones, okay? We will proofread our poems for spelling errors and make sure they have the punctuation and capitalization that we want in our poems. Poets don't always follow the rules. When it comes to punctuation and capitalization, poets don't always follow the rules. When they break the rules, they do so on purpose. So that's you. You need to make sure, are you making choices on purpose? When writing sentences, what do we usually do at the beginning and end to make sure that they are written correctly? Think about it. Beginning and end of a sentence. Well, the first letter of a sentence should be capitalized, and the end of a sentence should have a period, or an exclamation point, or a question mark, right? So that's the conventional way. So we're going to read this poem. We're going to scan the poem to see if the poet follows the rules for punctuating and capitalizing sentences. Okay? Do they follow the rules? Let's find out. Child Frightened by a Thunderstorm by Ted Kooser. Thunder has nested in the grass all night and rumpled it, comma, and with its outstretched wings has crushed the peonies, period. Its beak was bright, comma, sharper than garden shears and, comma, clattering, comma. It snipped bouquets of branches for its bed, period. I could not sleep, period. The thunder's eyes were red, period. Does this poet follow the rules? Well, I see thunder, the first word is capitalized, has nested in the grass all night and rumpled it, comma, and with its outstretched wings has crushed the peonies, period. That seems pretty good right there. That's pretty much the traditional way of punctuation. Its beak was bright, comma, sharper than garden shears, and, comma, clattering, comma, it sniffed bouquets of branches for its bed, period. I could not sleep, period. Notice how after a period, we have a capitalized letter. So I could not sleep, period. The is capitalized. Thunder's eyes were red. So this one is not breaking the rules. This is an example of just writing it straightforward. Let's look at Windshield Wiper by Eve Merriam and see if she does the same thing. Fog, smog, tissue paper, clear the blear, clear the schmear. So that was the first stanza. Second stanza, fog more, splat, splat, downpour, rubber scraper, over shoes, mackintosh, bumbershoot, muddle on, slosh through. Okay, the second stanza. Drying up, sky lighter, nearly clear, clearing, veer, clear, here, clear. So, let's see here. What do you notice about how this poem is punctuated? Yeah, hopefully you're saying what I'm seeing. There's really no punctuation at all, is there? This poem doesn't have capitalization or punctuation. It's all lowercase letters. There's no periods or commas or exclamation points. Even the sentences, lines are broken up. So this is an example of a poet breaking sentence writing and punctuation rules on purpose. She breaks the rules because she wants the poem to sound a certain way when it's read aloud. Right? She wants it to sound like windshield wipers. So make sure that you're paying attention to the way that you're writing your poems and that they look and sound the way that you want them to. I love the look of words by Maya Angelou. So we're going to look for punctuation and capitalization in this poem. What do you notice about the way the poem is punctuated? Popcorn leaps, comma, popping from the floor of a hot black skillet and into my mouth, period. Black words leap, snapping from the white page, period. Rushing into my eyes, period. Sliding into my brain, which gobbles them the way my tongue and teeth chomp the buttered popcorn, period. So first stanza looks pretty good as far as punctuation goes, right? We've got capital letters at the beginning of sentences. We have commas to add break in the flow. We have periods to end sentences. So as far as punctuation goes, this one looks pretty traditional, or not breaking the rules. Let's look at the second stanza. When I have stopped reading, ideas from the words stay stuck in my mind, comma, like the sweet smell of butter perfuming my fingers long after the popcorn is finished, period. Ah, yes. So we have the first letter of the sentence is capitalized, and we have commas for breaks, and we also have a period at the end. So this one also follows the rules. Third stanza. We start with the capital letter I. I love the book and the look of words, the weight of ideas that popped into my mind. Ah, there we should have a period, but we don't. I love the tracks of new thinking in my mind, period. So it looks like she left out a little bit of punctuation in this last stanza, and I wonder why she decided to do that. Why do you think she may have decided to do that? I love the book and the look of words. We should either have a comma there, the weight of ideas that popped into my mind. Period. Yeah, we're missing a comma, a period. I love the tracks of new thinking in my mind. Yeah. I guess the last sentence is okay, or the last two lines is okay. But the first two lines of the third stanza are missing punctuation. Interesting choice on her part. So you're going to review your poems today. You're going to pick out a couple that you feel like you can add to, or just to review. If you have one or two poems that you say, these are the ones I'm most proud of that I want to share and publish, and you're going to revise them. And if you can make edits, great. If there's no edits to make, then that's fine too. Okay, but at least go through your poems to edit and revise today. You can also edit and revise poems that you choose not to publish, just to improve your work. Okay, here are some questions for you to consider. Do you follow the rules of capitalizing the first letter of sentences and using periods at the ends? If so, do you do this all the way through your poem? So is it consistent? Or is it like Maya Angelou, where she had it mostly consistent, and then there's just those two lines at the end where she chose not to include punctuation? Okay, so consider that. If you do not start out following these rules, what did you do instead? Okay. Do you want to leave your poem this way or revise it to follow the rules? All right, that's your choice. If you choose not to follow the rules, do you do this consistently all the way through your poem? Okay, so consider those things. So let's select and revise for sensory details. Select poems that you want to publish. Find one place in your poem where you describe or could describe something using sensory details. Okay, and remember that spot. What do you hope your reader will imagine when reading that line? So you definitely want places in your poems that have sensory details. Okay. Is there a way that you could improve upon what you have there? If you don't have anything, what could you put there to help the reader imagine? You need to have sounds in your poems. Onomatopoeia. Do the sounds of the words in your poem communicate what the poem is about? So are they relevant, right? Find a place where you might be able to use onomatopoeia and add some interesting sounding words. So if you don't have onomatopoeia, it's a good idea to include it. Okay? It really brings a poem to life, helps the reader imagine what the poem is about. And find a place where you might use alliteration or repetition to create sound in your poem. Remember, alliteration is when you have the same letter beginning of a word, okay? And it's different words that all start with the same letter, repeated. Or you can just repeat the same word over and over again. Okay? Both of those things are also things you should be considering. If you don't have them, consider putting them in. Look at the stanzas in your poems. Okay? Do you have stanzas in your poetry? If so, do you have the same number of lines in each stanza? Do you want the same number of lines in each stanza? So if you don't have the same number of lines in each stanza, there should be a reason, right? That you're making an intentional decision. Oftentimes, for rhythm, there usually is about the same number of lines in each stanza, pretty close. But depending on what you wrote, it might not be the case, but be aware of it, right? It's all about making intentional choices because you know about stanzas and the rhythm and the sound and the form, and you want it to be that way. So, how does your poem look? What's the shape of the poem? Okay, does your poem have a particular shape? If so, does the shape help to communicate what your poem is about? Such as windshield wiper, right? The shape of that poem conveys and communicates what the poem is about. Maya Angelou's poem doesn't really do that so much. There's 3 stanzas, but it's written, pretty straightforward, just based on the line and the rhythm. And in A Child Frightened by a Thunderstorm, that one is just like one stanza, right? So think about the form of your poem and the way that you want the reader to see it. How does that communicate the message? After you've done those things, make your revisions and edits for punctuation and capitalization and type your poems up if they're not typed already. You can also upload a photo of your finished poems if you want to do it that way, just because you may have written it down and maybe colored some pictures or done some design. And if you don't want to lose that by typing it, then you can take a picture, a screenshot, somehow upload the file, and that way you can upload that to share when you publish. We will be publishing our poems tomorrow. Good luck and have a great day. Bye.